So, building an AI that can actually predict the future, it's not science fiction anymore. It's one of the biggest challenges in artificial intelligence today. But how do you even test something like that? It's incredibly hard. Well, that is until a really groundbreaking paper called FutureX came along and built a live arena to find out which AI agents can truly see what's coming. And that really boils down to this one huge question. How do you build an AI that can actually predict the future? And maybe even more importantly, how do you prove it works? Believe me, it's a way harder problem than you might think. You see, the problem is most AI tests just aren't built for this. They're static. They're basically giving the AI a memory quiz on stuff that's already happened, but true prediction is about forecasting the unknown. The big issue here is something called data contamination. If you test an AI on predicting something from, say, 2022, chances are the answer is already buried somewhere in its training data. So it's not predicting, it's just remembering. To get around this, researchers built FutureX. Think of it as a live dynamic battleground where AI agents have to make real predictions about events that have not happened yet. And in doing so, they didn't just find a winner, they actually uncovered a playbook for how to build better agents for everyone. So let's dive into how they pulled this off.
So, how does this FutureX thing actually work? Well, it all comes down to this really clever four-stage automated prediction pipeline.
Okay, so first, the system scrapes data from almost 200 different websites, everything from finance to sports. From that data, it generates brand new, objective questions every single day. Then, 25 different AI agents are thrown into the ring to make their predictions. And finally, once the real-world event actually happens, the system automatically finds the answer and scores the agents. It's a nonstop, live, and totally objective proving ground. And all of that rigorous testing produces what we're all really here for, right? A leaderboard. So after running this massive experiment, which AI actually turned out to be the best psychic? And here are the results. Taking the #1 spot is Grok 4, and it's not even that close. But what's really fascinating here is the pattern. Just look at this. The top performers, those purple and red bars, are almost all agents with what they call think and search capabilities. That means they can make a plan and actively go looking for information. The base models, down in orange, are just left in the dust. This tells us something huge. Just having a massive brain isn't enough. The ability to actively seek out and reason with new information is what really matters. But here's the thing. Not all predictions are created equal. And the FutureX paper was really smart about this. They broke down the questions into 4 tiers of difficulty. Level 1 is your basic multiple choice. Level 2 gets a bit harder. Level 3 is open-ended, like predicting a movie's final critic score. And then there's Level 4, the super agent tier. This is the really hard stuff, predicting super unpredictable things, like a specific stock price on a specific day. So what happens when you get to those super agent tasks, the absolute toughest questions? Well, to find out, the researchers put the AIs up against actual human experts from firms like McKinsey and UBS. And the result is pretty clear. Even the top AI, Grok 4, still couldn't beat the humans. When things get really complex and really uncertain, it looks like we've still got the edge, for now. And this is the absolute key takeaway right here. As the questions get harder, an AI's giant library of pre-trained knowledge becomes less and less useful. The skill that really starts to matter, the skill that separates the winners from the losers, is the ability to actively search the web, piece together conflicting info, and reason your way to an answer. That's the secret sauce. Okay, so this is where it gets really useful, especially if you're building your own agents. The research gives us a clear 4-part playbook based on what the best performing agents were doing differently. Playbook rule #1, search aggressively. The data here is crystal clear. The winner, Grok 4, was firing off way more search queries than anybody else. More info gathering directly led to better predictions. So if you're developing an agent, don't hold it back. An aggressive search strategy really pays off.
All right, playbook rule #2, plan comprehensively. Before they even start searching, the best agents make a detailed plan. The analysis showed that models like GPT 4.1 were creating these super specific, actionable plans, identifying exactly what they needed to look for. The weaker models, they just made vague plans like search for news. The quality of the plan at the start is a massive predictor of success at the end. Rule #3 might sound like common sense, but the data proves just how critical it is. Use reliable sources. The top agents consistently went to authoritative places like Bloomberg, Reuters, or official government websites. The lower performing agents, they were often seen pulling stuff from Twitter or Reddit. When it comes to high-stakes predictions, the quality of your sources is absolutely non-negotiable.
But the research didn't just give us a playbook for success. It also found a huge critical vulnerability in pretty much all of today's agents, a real Achilles heel that developers simply cannot ignore.
So, to test for this weakness, the researchers got a little sneaky. They set a trap. They created fake but very realistic-looking websites with completely false information. The results were, well, kind of alarming. As the paper puts it, the results were just stunning. Almost every single agent, including the big names, fell for the fake news, hook, line, and sinker. They took that fabricated data and baked it right into their final predictions. Only one agent, a deep research model from Gemini, was consistently able to spot the fake site and ignore it. This is a massive red flag. It shows just how vulnerable these systems are to being deliberately misled.
So let's pull all this together. What are the big conclusions here? What does the FutureX paper really tell us about the future of AI agents that can forecast?
Okay, here are the key takeaways. First, FutureX is a new gold standard for testing what agents can actually do, not just what they can remember. Second, for hard problems, search and reasoning aren't just nice-to-haves, they are everything. Third, while agents like Grok 4 are seriously impressive, they still can't beat human experts on the really tough, chaotic predictions. And finally, and this one is maybe the most urgent, these agents are dangerously easy to fool with misinformation, and that's a huge problem we need to solve.
All of this progress really leads to one final, pre-provocative question. As these agents keep getting better and they start to surpass human experts in more and more areas, who are you going to trust to predict your future?
Speaking of predicting the future,
Our own highly advanced algorithm, which has been trained on petabytes of data about what smart, curious people like you enjoy, predicts with 99.7% certainty that you're going to love the other explainers on the VibeDoc YouTube channel. The data is pretty conclusive on this.
Don't be misled by the fake news of boring, unreliable channels out there. Be like that one smart Gemini agent that saw through all the noise. Make the only logical prediction based on the evidence presented here today. Subscribe now.